All right, pay attention to the first sheet I gave you. We're talking about linear equations today. All right, so we have the linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line. Guys, please put the masks up. I know mine's even getting a little slippery. I'll have to readjust mine, but it is what it is. Yeah, you can see mine's getting a little loose here, and that causes it to slip. So it's need to tighten it up a bit, I guess. But all right, so linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line. Okay. Guys, can we get on math so we can get through this? The sooner you get through this, the quicker you get started on tonight's homework. Okay. Slope is a ratio that compares the change in vertical distance to the change in horizontal distance. What was the phrase we used to talk about slope last week? Somebody said it. What was it? Go ahead. Rise over run. That's the easy way to remember. Okay. When we use the x and y coordinate plane, rise is the difference in y values, and run is the difference in x values. So we do the difference in y values divided by difference in x. That is rise divided by run. You still alive over there, Colton? No. Yeah, he looks like he's about out. So, there is what it looks like. Okay, to calculate our slope, we just simply do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, real simple there. That's the same. That is the written out formal way of saying rise over run. Okay, guys, again. Oh. That went blank on us. There we go. Okay. So, when we say rise over run, this is what we're talking about. Some of you know this well. Some of you, this might be a little confusing. So here's a drawn out diagram of it. Slope is the steepness of a line and is given by the formula rise over run. You see that there are 2 points marked on the line. We can find the slope between any 2 points on that line. And if it truly is a line, the slope will be the same everywhere. So remember when we were asking you last week, is this linear? If you said yes, then the slope is the same throughout the entirety of the line. Now, if you said no, because we had curves in it, then that statement is not true. When you have curves, you can have different slopes throughout the graph of the equation. But if it's a line, then the slope is the same throughout the entire line. So you can take any 2 points that you want on that line and calculate rise over run and get your slope. you see here, there's the first point, okay, and there's the second point. So to get our rise, we just count how far up it goes here, and divide it by how far to the right we want here. Up is your rise, left and right would be your run. Is that making sense so far? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here's the same two thing, but instead of using the term rise over run, okay, what do we put in for rise? What do you see here instead of rise? Go ahead, Madison. Exactly. So we have replaced rise with the subtraction y2 minus y1. Okay, now you look on the bottom here. Instead of run, we have replaced run with what? Okay. All right, go ahead and finish it, Madison, since you're... That's right. Instead of run, we have x2 minus x1. So rise, y2 minus y1, over run, x2 minus x1. You see it's the same diagram. But this time, instead of the word rise and run, we have x2 and y2. And the second point is x1 and y1. Okay, so here... Well, there we go again with that. Okay. Remember that we said that last week, a horizontal line, the slope of a horizontal line is 0. Anybody remember what the equation of a horizontal line would look like? Go ahead, Zoe, try it. You're any number, that's right. Y equals a number, that's right. There's no x there, okay? When we deal with slope-intercept form, the number in front of x is the slope, and if that number is 0, that means that you have a horizontal line. It also means that the slope of a horizontal line is 0. And now what you're going to see is we're going to try to see there's the slope-intercept form of it. Y equals 0x plus b. What is b there? Anybody remember what b is? Go ahead, son. That's right. It's the y-intercept. Okay. The vertical line is a little bit different. Okay, do you remember the formula for a vertical line? If the horizontal line is y equals a number, what would a vertical line be? X equals a number. Okay, we say that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Okay. Horizontal line, the slope is 0. Vertical line, it's undefined. All right. Wow, I hate when it does that. So, if you look at this, we're going to find the slope of the line that contains each pair of points. Okay? Yes? Okay, what would you do here? You're exactly right. Now, before you do what Maddie said to do, my suggestion to you is to label your points x1, y1, and then x2, y2. Your 1's should always be together, and your 2's should always be together. If you do this right, you'll quickly be able to do what Maddie just said. So I wrote under the 5, since that's my first point, I wrote x1. And the y-coordinate of my first point, excuse me, I wrote y1. So you see x1 and y1. For the second point, the x-coordinate of the second point is 7, so I wrote x2 under that. And the y-coordinate of my second point is 11, so I wrote y2 under that. Okay? So we're going to do rise over run, and this is what Maddie already just said she did. She did 11 minus 8. That is your rise. That's y2 minus y1. That's your rise. And then run, we would do 7 minus 5. That would be your x2 minus your x1. You'll notice over here, if you do 11 minus 8, you get 3, right? And if you do 7 minus 5, you get 2. So your rise over run is 3 over 2. Okay? Now, what if you didn't do it the way Maddie did it? Well, what if you thought that 7 and 11 was your first point, and 5 and 8 were your second? So you would have the order switched. Okay? Then you did 8 minus 11 instead of 11 minus 8. And then for the run, you did 5 minus 7 instead of 7 minus 5. If you did it that way, you would have negative 3 over negative 2. And guess what happens there? Negative 3 over negative 2, yes? It's exactly right. The negatives would cancel out. You would get the same number. So the trick here, if you, whatever point you use as 1, you have to be x1 and y1 for that point. Whatever point you use for 2, it's got to be x2 and y2 for that point. Okay? The 2's always come first. When we do our subtraction, the second point always goes first. It's y2 minus y1, and then x2 minus x1. So it doesn't matter which one you label as 1 or which one you label as 2. But what matters is you always have the second point first in the subtraction, and the first point is second. That's the important thing. So here's another one. We are going to find the slope of the line that contains these points. I know Maddie can do it. Let's see if somebody else wants to do this. Abby, go ahead. Almost, Abby. Yes, but you're doing the math right, but the way you verbally described it wasn't. So I know you know what you're doing, but just so you can describe it, if we do this here, okay, this here is x1. This is then y1 right here. Okay, it's not x2, x1, x2, it's x1, y1. That makes this x2. Wow, is it hard to write with the mouse? And that makes this one y2. Okay. But then the rest of what you were saying is exactly right. Because it's going to be negative 5 minus negative 8. And you see here, that positive cancels, the two negatives cancel out, and it's the same as adding negative 5 plus positive 8. And that's going to give you 3. On the bottom then, since you did the negative 5 first, you have to do 11 first. So it would be 11 minus 3, and that's going to give you 8. So your slope for this point would be 3 over 8. And remember that 3 is your rise. Wow, that's a delay when I try to write it. I'm already done writing it by the time it comes up there. There's your rise. This one's your run. Okay. Okay, and there you see at the bottom, somebody did it differently, where they used this as, they did negative 8 minus negative 5. So it's negative 8 minus negative 5. These two negatives would cancel out here. So that becomes negative 8 plus 5. What's negative 8 plus 5? Go ahead, Dawn. Not negative 13. Nevaeh, what you got? Negative 8 minus negative 5, so this becomes negative 8 plus positive 5. So I know you know. Let's see if they can fix it, Maddie. You want to fix it, Dawn? Go ahead. That's correct. That's going to be negative 3 on the top. Right. The bottom, the run, is going to be 3 minus 11. What number is that? Go ahead, Dom. That's negative 8. So, you see negative 3 over negative 8. The negative signs will cancel. And now you see that this answer and this answer are identical. Okay? So as long as you keep your 2 straight and your 1 straight, you're going to be okay. All right, let's look at this one. Okay? How about this one? Go ahead, Maddie. Very good. This has, the 2's have to be together. Yeah. Very good. What type of line is this, guys and ladies? Go ahead. It is. It is a horizontal line. It is a slope of 0. That makes it a horizontal line. Anybody have questions about this one? Okay, what are we looking at this time? Go ahead, Dawn. Okay. Okay. What does rise over run look like for this problem now? Go ahead, you're running with it, Dawn. Go ahead. Okay, but remember, we're doing the 11 minus 12, the y, that has to go on top. Okay, so we usually say that one first because that goes on the top of the fraction. 12 minus 11 over 3 minus 3, if you did 11 minus 12, either way, you're going to get what on the bottom? What do you get on the bottom? Right. So you get 1 over 0. That is known as an undefined slope. Because it's undefined because you are not allowed to divide by 0. Okay, what type of special line is this? Zoe, you're up. That's correct. It's a vertical line. And it's going to be x equals 3. Anybody have a question with this stuff? Okay. So here, we're going to find the slope of this line here. Okay? So, all right. What will we do first here to find the slope of a line here? What do I need to get in order to have the slope of a line? Dawn, what do you think? Well, a table can help, but in order to get the slope on a line, you need what? Table's not going to hurt you, but it wasn't the answer I was looking for. It's not wrong, but it's not. And What do you need in order to calculate the slope on the line? Go ahead. Well, you don't need all the points. Specifically, you need how many? 2. There you go. You need 2 points. Remember what I said earlier. They can be any 2 points. If you have a linear equation, if you have a line, the slope is the same for the entire line. Therefore, you can pick any 2 points. Okay? It doesn't matter because you're going to use 2 points to do it. So if you're looking here, Abby, what you want to do is just pick 2 points. Any 2 points on the graph. I'll get you in a second. What I like to do is, if I can, I try to get the intercepts. Why would I want the intercept? Because there's a 0 in the intercept. And zeros are very easy to calculate, aren't they? So this first point that I picked right there is 0, 2. We went left or right 0, so the x-coordinate 0, we went up 2. Now you can find any other point on the graph. I look for my intercepts first. If I can't find a second intercept, or if my intercept is between 2 points like this one looks like it is, my next option is to find a point that's like the corner of a square, because then I know an exact value. Does that make sense? You don't want to guess when you're calculating these. So see how where my cursor is right now, see how that's in the middle of a square? You don't know the exact value of that point. But if you go up here and find right here, this spot right here, that's at the corner of a square. You do know the exact value of that point. So that's why we would pick those points and use those. Okay? Now you could continue. You could find another point right here that's also on a corner. Okay? The first point I showed you was 0, 2. The second point was 2, 4. And the last point was 4, 6. Okay? Any 2 points. All you need are 2 points. Okay. What do you do after you get the 2 points? Go ahead, Maddie. Okay, good choice. Good. Okay, I like that. So what number did you get? Good. Okay, so you had 2 over 2. So your slope here is going to be 1, right? There you go. Okay. Notice if you did it with these the next 2 points there, you could do 6 minus 4. Exactly. 6 minus 4 over 4 minus 2. Notice when you do that, you're still getting 2 over 2, right? Okay. All right, so it looks like that's about toward the end here. Now, what I'm going to give you is tonight's homework assignment. I'll try to work through one with you right now, and then the rest is yours to work on. Take a look at it in a second. Don't start with that. Don't sit there and tell the teacher, "Oh, I'm not doing all of it." Guess what I want to say now? Oh, yeah, you're going to do all of it. Let me take a look at it and I'll tell you what we're doing. everybody get one? Get one? You want one for your brother? Here, you want one for your brother?
Yeah.
All right. So we take a look at that. Okay, finding slope from 2 points. That's pretty easy to deal with, right? So, why don't you guys do the first 10? That way you don't have to do the entire second page. Okay? Let's look at number 1. Let's do one of these together here. Number 1, I get 2 points, which are, I've got 19 and negative 16. And I also have negative 7 and negative 15. You are trying to find the slope here. Okay? So, all right, Nevaeh, can you tell me which one's x1, y1, what's x2, and y2?
Yeah.
Well, you're almost there. This is x1. That's correct. So I'm going to do it like this. This is x1 first, and then you have y1. And then the next one looks like what? Very good. Okay. Now, so when we do the first thing, Sierra, you can do this one. Okay. How do we do the top part of our fraction? It's the rise. So what's that look like?
It would be negative 16.
What was the last time you said?
Negative 15.
You can do it that way. Okay. So we'll do negative 16. Oops. Minus negative 15. Okay. And what's on the bottom?
19 minus.
So 19 minus negative 7. Okay, that will work. Let me get the pen on. So there's our line for our fraction. When you subtract the negatives cancel, right? You're adding the opposite. So subtraction is adding the opposite. So we're going to do plus positive 15. Okay. Negative 16 plus positive 15 is what number? Go ahead, Dawn. It is 1. It's negative 1, though. Negative 16 plus positive 15. That gives you negative 1. How about 19 minus negative 7? Once again, add the opposite. Go ahead, Sierra. You sure? We're adding the opposite here because it was minus negative. So 19 plus 7 is what? That's correct. There's your slope. Okay, anybody have any questions here? It looks like all 10 of these are the same. You're just going to do it the same way we just did it. You can get started with it now. Just do 1 through 10. And you should be good to go.